Rapper Tory Lanez is asking a federal judge for some protection. His family says he needs a restraining order against a prison guard who wants to see him hurt.
Rapper Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in a California prison and rushed to a hospital. Officials say that attack happened Monday morning at California's State Correctional Institution.
All right, so Tory Lanez went from fighting his conviction to fighting for his life, and now his own lawyers are worried they might lose him entirely.
What has life been like in prison for the last couple of years?
Truthfully, I've done my best to keep my head above water, but mentally, I've gone through trauma that I sometimes even struggle with because I never imagined myself dealing with the things that I would have to deal with.
His legal team has come out claiming there was medical sabotage during his trial, but right now, that's almost secondary to what's happening on the inside.
We didn't have that chance. Or perhaps we could have questioned the doctors differently when they were on stand to impeach them, because it does look suspicious.
They believe Tory is not safe where he is, and they've been going to court over it. Emergency restraining order, federal lawsuits, everything. But the judge wasn't trying to hear any of it.
This is a really, really difficult appellate argument for defendants to prove, because they have to show if the evidence actually came into court, the jury would have found differently. It's an uphill battle, and it's something that often torpedoes any defense appellate argument.
And in a last-ditch move, his team is now exploring whether California's governor can step in and wipe his slate clean.
And with that, Chloe Malas joins us now on set. So, Chloe, Tory Lanez is also seeking a pardon from Governor Gavin Newsom?
That's right. His legal team has filed the necessary paperwork, and it is before the governor now. So they're seeking either a pardon where his criminal record will be wiped clean, he would be released from prison, or to have his sentence commuted, meaning that the time he has served is sufficient, and release him, but that doesn't change his criminal record. As for when this could happen, the governor typically does these twice a year, so this could happen before the new year.
So let's go through all of it, because what's really going on is messier than anyone would have imagined. So here's exactly where things stand. From day one at California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi, Tory was already beefing with guards and inmates. Then on May 12th, 2025, it turned into something you can't walk back from.
Rapper Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in a California prison and rushed to a hospital.
He was attacked in the yard, stabbed 17 times, and left for the worse with 2 collapsed lungs and injuries across his head, face, chest, and back. Guards had to airlift him to a Bakersfield hospital, where doctors put him on a ventilator just to keep him breathing.
Was he in? Well, we got the details late yesterday. He was stabbed at least 14 times. 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face.
Oh my God, this is worse.
Both of his lungs collapsed, and he was placed on a breathing apparatus. Late yesterday, he was breathing on his own, so that is clearly an upgrade.
That is way more than I thought.
Once he recovered and was discharged, prison officials decided Tehachapi was no longer safe. So they moved him to the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo. But the new prison didn't bring peace of mind. Through his attorney, Crystal Morgan, Tory filed a $100 million federal lawsuit against California corrections officials, claiming prison staff set him up. Then, just recently, on May 27th, 2026, Morgan went back to court with an emergency motion, this time targeting a specific correctional officer at the men's colony.
Rapper Tory Lanez is asking a federal judge for some protection. His family says he needs a restraining order against a prison guard who wants to see him hurt.
According to Tory, the officer has been harassing and intimidating him as payback for the $100 million lawsuit. He even accused the guard of threatening to move him into a high-risk housing unit with dangerous inmates, a setup that could have looked exactly like the first attack. His lawyers are saying flat out that he is spiraling, that between the stabbing, the scars, and the threats, Tory is on the verge of a severe mental breakdown, and what the courts did next only made it worse. Completely disregarding the state Tory was in mentally, U.S. District Judge Josephine L. Staten officially denied the request for that temporary restraining order. Even though early blogs were reporting that he'd briefly secured some relief, the federal judge shut it down for good. Here's why. Crystal Morgan filed the emergency motion on May 27, 2026. But the court found that the opposing side wasn't properly notified before the emergency request was made. On top of that, Morgan had tried to file some supporting documents under seal, meaning kept private from the public record. But she only submitted the redacted version, not both the redacted and unredacted copies the court requires, so that request got denied too. Then the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation hit back. They insisted Tory was already housed at a facility specifically chosen for his safety after the 2025 stabbing, and that their security protocols were more than enough. From their point of view, there was nothing for a federal judge to step in on. However, the judge didn't permanently close the door. She left it open for the legal team to refile. But every day that passes, Tory gets closer to a full mental breakdown, or even worse, another attack. What makes all of this heavier is the bigger picture of where Tory stands legally right now. Back in February 2026, the California Supreme Court officially rejected his petition to review the conviction. That came 3 months after the California Court of Appeal had already upheld it in November 2025, finding no reversible error at trial. Every state-level appeal is now done. His lawyers had been building toward a Brady violation argument, claiming prosecutors withheld a Cedars-Sinai pathology report from the defense that could have changed the jury's view of the case.
And we didn't have that chance. Or perhaps we could have questioned the doctors differently when they were on stand to impeach them, because it does look suspicious.
That argument never got traction. The appeals courts looked at it and moved on. The only paths left are federal ones: a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court, which is a long shot by every legal measure, or a separate federal habeas challenge. Legal experts have called both options difficult at best. And while all of that is playing out, Crystal Morgan is still pushing the $100 million civil lawsuit forward. In her latest filings, she demanded the prison preserve all video footage, emails, internal memos, grievance records, and logs connected to how guards have been treating Tory. She's stacking evidence for when that case goes back in front of a judge.
Defamation verdict or finding of $16,000 against Milagro Grams has been reinstated by the judge, who says that Grams was actually acting on behalf of Tory Lanez. And when Grams said that Megan was lying about getting shot in the feet, which is something that, by the way, Tory Lanez is justifiably serving a 10-year sentence for. And so Milagro tried to pull an Alex Jones denying things that have actually happened. He's going to pay for it. Good for him.
The trial record showed that Grams had been paid at least $2,500 directly by Tory's father, Sanstar Peterson, to post that Megan lied under oath and tried to deceive the courts at Tory's criminal trial. Grams also received insider information from Tory's legal team before mainstream media had it, and she routinely sent materials back to assist with Tory's defense. And Tory himself didn't help his own situation during the civil process. He was ordered to give a deposition from prison. He showed up so uncooperative, claiming not to recall basic facts, that a judge held him in contempt and ordered him to pay Megan's legal fees. His own attorney, Crystal Morgan, got sanctioned for her conduct during that same deposition. Despite all of that, Tory sat down with NBC News and said he's physically recovered from the stabbing but carries permanent facial scars and severe psychological trauma.
Truthfully, I've done my best to keep my head above water, but mentally, I've gone through trauma that I sometimes even struggle with, because I never imagined myself dealing with the things that I would have to deal with. I've been stabbed 17 times. I almost lost my life.
In a separate Breakfast Club interview, he said he's taken accountability and isn't out to attack Megan. He said he just wants the case handled fairly.
At a place of healing in my life, I'm at a place of taking accountability for the things that I did wrong. And when I talk about my case, I don't want it to be taken as me coming at her, because it's not that. I'm just asking for somebody in the system to look at my case and look at the evidence and ask if this was fair.
With every legal door in California now closed and the federal options looking thin, Tory's team has made their most unconventional move yet. They submitted a clemency petition directly to California Governor Gavin Newsom.
With that, Chloe Malas joins us now on set. So, Chloe, Tory Lanez is also seeking a pardon from Governor Gavin Newsom?
That's right. His legal team has filed the necessary paperwork, and it is before the governor now. So they're seeking either a pardon where his criminal record will be wiped clean, he would be released from prison, or to have his sentence commuted, meaning that the time he has served is sufficient, and release him, but that doesn't change his criminal record. As for when this could happen, the governor typically does these twice a year, so this could happen before the new year.
Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna also publicly called on Newsom to pardon Tory, saying the 10-year sentence was built on flawed evidence and political pressure. She even circulated an online petition.
And when I actually spoke to the attorneys that are representing Mr. Lanez, they actually presented me with evidence. When I saw the evidence that was brought forward, we're talking about no forensics DNA on the magazine of the pistol, a 0.01 DNA match, which effectively means that he could not have been the shooter, to include there being ring footage that really refutes and dispels the testimony that, you know, he had basically said dance and then fired the firearm. In addition to that, they're also being missing ballistics fragments from the alleged, you know, shot in the foot, as well as medical x-rays. All of this does indeed show and prove that Mr. Lanez, unfortunately, is being incarcerated and he's an innocent man.
As of right now, there has been no public response from the governor's office. No indication a pardon or commutation is coming. Until one comes forth, Tory is eligible for parole in August 2029. With good behavior credits, his team says he could potentially walk out in the early 2030s. But for a man his lawyers say is breaking down mentally right now, that timeline feels like a different lifetime. According to his lawyers, Tory Lanez is no longer just fighting for his freedom. He's fighting for his mind. The court denied the restraining order, the prison is far from safe, and a new filing is coming. We'll update you the moment that emergency order gets refiled. Until then, this is far from over.